Ah, então vamos lá. Capítulo 4. Vamos ver o que vai acontecer, né? Eu falei demais, né? Me envolvi demais com o jogo. Acho que eu tô me empolgando demais. Novembro. Jean Chastenet. Se não me engano, é o diretor. She was transferred to intensive care last night. And she died this morning. Ih, mano, será que é a mulher que ela amaldiçoou? The doctors did all they could, but they say her chances of survival were very slim. How did I get here? Well, well, we are already well into the November. Yet I feel as though the cocktail party happened just yesterday. Oh, when Eve Smalteri unveiled the statue of a sphinx that looked exactly like the one I saw in my dream, I was struck by lightning. There, in front of me, was the confirmation of an intuition that's clung to me since I've arrived here in the village. The feeling that there was something somewhere that would give me into all this. Something that I grasped at, but with slippery between my fingers like a trickle of water. I decided to consider it as a strength I could tap into, rather than a bottomless existential abyss. And this belief and this belief spreads into something else, something better that guides me, helps me through the everyday trials of life. Frank went back to the city 3 days ago. He was to supervise some works there. He told me he would be away until the end of the month at least. After what happened at the cocktail party, Stan and his stolen kiss. Ah, então ele chegou a beijar ela. Pensei que a mulher lá tinha parado. There's been a coolness between us, but he's finally begun to realize it wasn't my fault. Ah, tá, tá. Então o cara ele entendeu lá que o cara tentou roubar o Frank, entendeu que o loirinho lá tentou roubar um beijo dela, mas viu que não era culpa dela. I don't know how to feel about this sudden departure. Is he thinking of leaving the village for good? And then Stan tried to calm me. Or rather, my voicemail has been completely delugged with his messages. He begged me to pick up the phone, that we had to talk. I did dare answer. I don't know what will happen if I give him a chance. Ih, rapaz. Que isso? Se segura aí, moça. É... Agora é o Jean Chastanet. Chastanet. Miss Delator, are you alright? He looks upset. What happened exactly? How did she get in the accident? Here's what her sister told me. Beatrice Levesque took the cliff road to pick up her son, Jean Baptiste, after his soccer game. The car seems to have skidded on a patch of ice. But why telling me all this? Ah, perguntou? It's terrible. Ou como, como dizia o meu ex-colega de trabalho, so sorry. It's terrible. When I think of her son. É verdade. Ah, o que aconteceu com o filho dela? Yes, his class teacher. I count on you to be watchful. Ih, Jean-Baptiste is going to need our support to get through. É, tem razão. Also, I'm sorry to talk about under these circumstances, but I didn't want to see you anyway. Não, peraí. Also, I'm sorry to talk about it under these circumstances, but I didn't want to see you anyway. Tá bom. I know you're only here as a substitute. Ah, tá, é, tá. Agora eu entendi o contexto. But we are very happy with your work so far. Ó, o sorrisão? Nossa, que cara de. O cara mó. O cara, tipo, falando com ela de boa. Ela com essa cara. Parece eu nas reuniões. As you might have heard, é, Mr. É Mr., né? Calvin is retiring next year. If you are interested, his post could be yours. A cara dela de roupa? Well, I might have to pull out all the stops with the academy to convince them we have to keep you during the transition period. That's why I want to make sure that you are interested in a permanent job here in the school. Deixa eu ver. I will be delighted. I need to think about it. Pô, cara, ela gosta de dar aula. Ela fica feliz aí, ó. Ó, até acendeu aqui o negócio. I'll be delighted. To be honest, I was completely sure teaching was for... Ei, cara. Calma aí, bicho. To be honest, I was completely sure teaching was for me, but with this opportunity, my mind made up. Ah, beleza. I promise I'll do my best not to disappoint you, Mr. Chastanet. Excellent. That's exactly what I want to hear. Miss Delator, I can't guarantee you Mr. Galvin's post, but I'll do my very best to keep you with us. As for now, oh, as for you, don't change a thing, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you so much, Mr. Chestnut. It's my pleasure. Well, we've been over what I want to discuss, but may I ask you something a little personal? Ih, rapaz. Ó, melhor não. É o chefe, né? Vai pedir hora extra. Of course. Solzinho. Of course, I'm listening. And stop me if I'm wrong, but how can I put this? There's a talk in the village. I know you had words with Mrs. Levesque and the cocktail party. Did you, by any chance? I don't know quite how to put it. Well, let me just come straight out with it. Did you, by chance, and reiterated the by chance, have any responsibility for Mrs. Levesque's accident? Isso aqui essa resposta aqui seria suspeita, né? Vamos mudar o assunto? Vamos colocar aqui, que é absolutamente não. Absolutely not. Mr. Chestnut, I understand that the people of the village may harbor some romantic notions about my family, but you of all people, I didn't know you shared these beliefs. If you are concerned about the influence of these superstitions on my efficiency as a teacher, let me put your mind at ease. I am a woman of science. I don't give any credence to these beliefs, and I'm sure you that my teaching is in no way impacted. There was no question. In that case, I don't see why we were talking about it. Is there anything else, Mr. Chestnut? Well, no, there isn't. Then let me wish you a very good day, sir. Miss Delator. Tá vendo? A mina fez hora extra à toa. Fez banco de hora à toa. As if today had been emotional enough when I get to the castle. Opa, deu um problema no áudio. Deixa eu ver se tá gravando ainda. Deu um tchutchu aqui. Calma aí, cara. Calma aí, bicho. Emotional enough when I get at the castle, I discover a sports car parked in front of the house. Ih, mano. Muitas coisas acontecendo. Of course, I've already guessed the identity of his owner. Esse cara entrou e tá bebendo ali? Walking to the hall, I found Stanislas has let himself in and is sipping a glass of whiskey as he peruses the family portraits. Oxi! O cara chegou bebendo já, abrindo a geladeira. Que isso, bicho? My heart beats a little harder on seeing him. Here in my living room. I feel a bit foolish, and I try to get myself together before I speak to him. I do have offer you a drink, but it looks like you have already taken the matter into your own hands. It was open, so I let myself in. And I'm not sorry since you've kept me on a tenter's hooks for some time. I'm already on my second refill. Ah, o cara tá servindo aí, ó. I thought school teachers finish work much earlier, don't they? I was held up. Daphne, we need to talk. Não quero falar com você. Vamos lá, vamos escutar o que o cara tem que falar, né? Looking. On the state of my voicemail, I guess you come over sooner or later. I'm listening. After all that's happening, I had to warn you. You need to know about our families, the village, and everything else. Vamos lá, que também tô curioso. I sit on the sofa, ignoring the armchair on the other side of the coffee table. Stanislas sits down beside me. If I could blame the alcohol for his behavior and the cocktail party, I can continue to ignore the strong signal he's sending my way. Ih, rapaz. Stan takes a deep breath and begins. Of course, there's my father, his projects, and the old Carol with the delators, and his sick obsession with the tower. But when I heard about Beatrice Levesque, that's when I realized the situation was urgent. When I watched you, Do what you did at the cocktail party. I remember everything I heard since I was a child. All those unbelievable stories of witchcraft. I've never had any, I, I've never had any real proof that any of it was true. But when I heard she was dead, well, it's been haunting me all day. I had to tell you. I have to know. So I just going to play it on the line. Did you know what you were doing back there? Não sabia o que estava fazendo e eu não acredito em mágica. É, don't tell me you give credit to these stories about witches too. Don't you think it's disturbing? Beatrice Levesque died in a car accident. There's nothing magical about black eyes. For God's sake, Daphne, it's been, what, 3 months since you arrived? I don't see how that will change the fundamental laws of physics. I was born here. I've been listening to these stories for 30 years. It's neither the first inexplicable accidents nor the first strange coincidence I've encountered. Very well. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that I did curse Mrs. Levesque. Do you realize that means I killed her? That's not what I'm saying. You didn't know what you were doing. Perhaps, but that. Try to understand that. This witchcrafty stuff goes against everything I believe. And yet, if any of this is true, I'm responsible for the death of the mother of one of my students. I'm overwhelmed by emotion. I realize I've been holding my tears back since the director broke the news to me. Irma! I burst into tears, and Stan takes me on his arms. I let him, I'm torn by conflicting emotions. I think I'm Frank. He should be the one comfort me. Pois é, né? Era o cara, mas você fica afastando o cara? Pô, aí é foda, mano. Tô ficando puto com esse jogo já. I shouldn't let myself go like this, but strangely I trust Stan. Maybe I judge him a bit hastily. O cara fura fila esse. Né? Né? A few minutes later, I tremulously blink away the last tears. When he's sure most of the storm is behind us, Stan gently lets go of me and looking me straight in the eye while holding me by the shoulder says, please forgive me. I've been terribly inconsiderate. Pois é. Deixa eu ver aqui uma mensagem. Deixa eu dar um skip aqui. Pronto, para mostrar que tô todinho. Of course, you could. have known what will happen. I keep forgetting you are not from here. And besides, no one's told you what's happening in the village. So please, I beg you, don't feel guilty. It's us, the Malteres, and others around here who should feel guilty for not warning. Something else to tell me? I'm afraid I do. My father made you an offer at the cocktail party, did he? Well, yes, about the tower, right? He wants to gain access to it, if I understood correctly. Exactly. If he has come to see you, uh, if he hasn't come to see you yet, it's because he's building his case for the town council. He's got a Solini on it, and he's got her working day in, day out. Poor Solini. He wants everything settled before he tells you his plans. What can he really do to me? The house is legally mine. He can't throw me out just like that for no reason. Maybe, but I assure you, it's no joke. Whatever happens, you must accept it. Why do you want me to refuse so much? I know Ivis, like it or not. I've been dealing with him since I was born. He's a shark, and considering how much he resents the Delators, I can assure you that whatever he proposes to you will serve his own interests. But more important, it will harm yours. Caraca. What has he got against the Delators? É, mano, quero saber. Eu pensei que ele ia contar a treta da família aí. What's inside the tower? Eu acho que ele não sabe também. Eu vou ver isso aqui. What did my family to generate so much hate? To do. It goes very far back. Our great parents, or even further. I don't know for sure. It's said the Delators have always been a very influential family in the area. Your family has kept it to their traditions despite the law, and the name of Delator of the tower goes from mother to daughter, and the eldest daughter has always been the spiritual guide of the community. A kind of Celtic. Ó, eu falei que negócio de ter ritual, de, de ter coisa lá. Eu já vi filmes demais sobre ela correr risco de vida e tal. Eu já vi filmes demais pra não suspeitar. Vamos lá. A kind of Celtic great priestess. If you see what I mean, since, well, Christianity never really got very popular around here, as you will probably noticed. The story goes that your ancestor, the great priestess, had a dispute with my ancestor, and my family had no choice but to curse yours to save their honor. Since that time, the Malteres have accumulated wealth and prosperity while the Delators have declined. Fair enough, but all that happened a long time ago. Why keep such an old carrier alive? Not only did I do nothing to harm your family, but it looks to me like the Moldaris already have the upper hand, don't they? That's where the tower comes in. As I understand it, these blessings have a price, and my father wants to get into it to lift the curse that takes its toll on my family too. And the tower is the key to lifting the curse. But I can't let Evis get inside because he may want to harm me. Exactly. It may sound stupid, but I have to ask, do you know where the entrance to the tower is? No, but everyone in the village knows that he was condemned after the events that tore both our families apart. So, why didn't anyone tell me? Don't judge the villagers too harshly. They are naturally suspicious, especially when it comes to us. When it comes to us. Should I brace myself for more revelations or it's that it? I guess I've told you most of it. The crux of the matter anyway. But you must have a thousand questions. Que barulho é esse? Tem uma porta e uma lareira crepitando. Tell me more about your family. Tell me more about your father's plans. Tell me more about yourself. Ele não falou muita coisa, né? Your family, I'm curious. Can you tell me more about them? I think you are grasping the nuts and bolts. First, there's my parents, Yves and Clotilde. Our relationship being distant since I've been old enough to understand how they think. What do you mean? Hmm, how can I sum up the Maltese method? I will say manipulation and extortion under the cover of good breeding, and if that doesn't work, then they throw money in the general direction to the problem until it's kind enough to disappear. Charming, but I'm asking myself, why would they stay in the village? I mean, with so much wealth, they could live anywhere. Could they? You mean somewhere less remote? You are not wrong, but don't forget they are very attached to the area. With their beliefs, they are much too afraid of losing their advantages. If they leave, I guess. But everything I tell you is only speculation. Eves had decided I was it fit to be the number one there, the number one hair, her, herdeiro, long before I was old enough for him to tell me any of their little secrets. And you haven't you ever thought about leaving? Of course I have, but Solini and her son are stuck here, and I couldn't bring myself to leave them alone in the belly of the beast. Sure, that makes sense. Besides, I strongly suspect my father is, to some degree, responsible for the death of Solini's husband. A good accidental death just the way he likes, whether it's supernatural or not. After all, seeing that his own son was up to the task, he needed on her to pass his fine values on to right. But that's awful. Welcome to my world. Of course, I'm doing my best to protect Pierre from all this, but I'm afraid I'm fighting a losing battle. He adores his grandfather, of course, and with good reason, he can be a very charming guy when he wants to be. As for Celine, she's always been kept out of. She she's always been the perfect daughter, and my parents, with their projection values, didn't have many ambitions for her. I think all they wanted for their daughter was a good marriage that would preferably help the family affairs. Stan stopped talking, his eyes far away. I'm lost for words. Finally, he breaks the silence before it becomes awkward. Well, that's it. Now you know everything. Na verdade, não, né? Tell me more about your father plans. Tell me about your father plans. As I told you, he wants to get inside the tower, and I'm afraid he will stop at and nothing to do it. If I know him, he will certainly try to win you over on the first. He's currently building a case for the town council to open the tower to the public. In return, they will pay all the maintenance costs. It could be worth listening to his offer, don't you think? The costs to keep the castle afloat can't be sneezed at. Caraca, peraí. The costs to keep the castle afloat can't be sneezed at. And the money I got in the will is next house table. Caraca, que palavra difícil. I don't know how on else to say it. And I don't have any proof except my own experience and the trust you may put in my word. But I assure you, the accept anything from my father will be a very bad idea. During your grandmother's time, he was resigned to not getting into the tower, but now things have changed, and he wants to take advantage of the opportunity. I'm sure he will come up with a very attractive financial deal, and he's counting on your supposed naivety to get what he's after. Alright, let's say I refuse. What happens next? That depends. Depends on what? It depends on whether or not you believe in all this witchcraft stuff. It always comes back to that, does it? Perhaps, but it's a very durable concept for most people who live here. And whatever your feelings about it, Higgs is still a very real threat. You are not the first person to oppose him. But you have got a few cards up your sleeve and might make you the last. Tell me more about yourself. I think the crab. Conta aí um pouquinho de você. Tell me about you. What your life like? What do you want me to tell you? I don't know. What do you do with your days? Do you have ambitions? I can feel him close up like a oyster. Without meaning to, I guess I've hit a sore spot. Stanislas, I'd like to be able to tell you I have an exciting and fulfilling life, but I'm afraid I'm just a lazy rich kid. I'm failing at everything I try. And it's not that I lack the capabilities. I just don't apply myself enough, or all, and that's probably worse. Vou continuar, bicho. I'm trying to get into med school, but I'm to pass the exam. I'm trying law school, but I'm not as brilliant as my sister. I want to play the piano, then to paint, but I had to face the fact I haven't got an artistic bone in my body. In fact, the only thing with any meaning of my life is my sister and my little nephew. Pierre. I don't know what I do without them. And then I met you. I know it's a total cliche and kind of soppy, and I hope you are not going to make tracks. But I think that for once I like to go a bit further than just fooling around. Ela também aqui é. Calma aí, bicho. Não tão rápido. Listen, I've been lying. If I told you I felt nothing, but I have things to sort out before I'm 100% available. Não, pera aí, mano. Pera aí, bicho. E o Frank? Que isso, bicho? I understand. There's your guy, of course. É, bicho, até tá falando do Frank, mano. There's a plenty of time. Adultery has always been a kind of hazy concept for me, and I'm not a jealous guy. Don't get it smart? Is it me? Or does bring up your carpenter make you improvisions to my fascinating sense of humor? Stanislas really could do with a slap when he acts like this, but I can't refrain from smiling. Well, it is. That's my life, broadly speaking. I don't do I don't do much with my time, to be honest. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I guess it's not as sexy as you thought. If you don't like it, it's never too late to change, you know. Sure, shall we talk about something else? Okay, I get it. I'll stop bugging you. Thank you. Nós cobrimos tudo. There's still something I want to talk to you about. I can see in his eyes what kind of subject we are about to discuss. But I would, I wouldn't. I'd be putting my chances to reconnect with Frank in jail party by getting involved in that. Peraí. But wouldn't it? I've been putting my chances to reconnect with Frank in jail party by getting involved in that. Não, bicho. Tô com o Frank. Caramba. Spend the night. Que isso? Isso, bicho. Ah, meu Deus do céu, cara. Que isso, mano? Cara, aí geral, meu costume de jogar é jogar quieto. Mas agora que eu tô gravando vídeo e comentando e tal, eu tô me envolvendo como se fosse conversando com alguém, bicho. Mas tipo, geralmente eu jogo em silêncio, prestando atenção e tal. Que nem a gravação anterior, né? Teve uma gravação anterior que eu deixei o jogo rolar em silêncio. Aí eu pensei, já que é só texto, eu vou testar é, a minha pronúncia, né? Eu vou treinar a minha pronúncia. E resolvi começar uma gravação de novo. Mas, bicho, realmente eu tô inconformado aqui com as coisas do jogo. Que isso, bicho? Passar a noite com o Stan, see him to the door. É, mano, vai pra porta. Que isso? É, ó, até fez sozinho aqui, ó. I know what you're about to say. I thought I was clear. I'm sorry, but I'm so sorry. Spare me the it's not you, it's me speech. I get it. If you change your mind, you know where to find me. Que isso, bicho? Days go by and still nothing from Evie's Malteri. I must admit, finding out about his plans has left me in a state of permanent apprehension. I try not to worry about. I mean, really, what's the risk? These stories of curses and witchcraft are totally unbelievable. Malter, eita, só tem um tô aqui, desculpem. Desculpem por essa grosseria. Are totally unbelievable. Ibis Malteri can't make my car fall off a cliff, but putting needles through some doll made me. But that does mean he's harmless. and I'm eager to find out what he's up to. I've spoken to Frank on the phone a few times. He's helped me get my head straight, put everything into perspective. Tá vendo? Ó? O cara tá ali, mano. O cara tá na parceria, bicho. Chega um maluco com carro esporte, com uns papos esquisitos. Tudo bem que ele foi avisar sobre os planos do pai dele, mas, mano, é absurdo, bicho. Que isso? I must admit, I miss him. He promised he would do his best to come back soon. Tá vendo, ó? O cara é parceiro, bicho. Poxa. Said he had news, and that we have to talk when he gets back. In. Know him? I'm not sure if I should be worried or excited. Then there's the boat team. I haven't seen them in a while. Sometimes I think of Celine Malter. Not sure I've got her figured out, but I felt there was something going on when I met her on the cocktail party. Perhaps would call her. Maybe we could see each other again. What should I do? Pô, eu vou ver o casal aqui que tava ajudando ela, né? Ó, doguinho. When I knock on the lodge door, Mrs. Portini answer. Ah, que bom que eles estão bem, né? Oh, hello, miss. What brings you here? It looks as though she's put her knitting aside to greet me. Next to the fire in the armchair, I make out the silhouette of the Mr. Bolton. He looks at me over his newspaper, the local news, and puffs on his pipe as I enter the room. He nods me a greeting. I was just passing to see how you are. It's been a while since we saw each other. Ó, o sorrisinho dela. Aí, ó. Isso aí foi legal. Yes, it has. Time flies. When my husband and I heard about Mrs. Levesque, we felt terrible for the poor women. Smells like another Maltese trick, if you ask me. Ih, mano! It doesn't make sense. It's not the Maltese's fault this time. É, não posso falar que não é culpa deles, eu não sei. But it doesn't make sense. Why the Malteses want to get rid of housewife? Do you mean that you knew her, miss? Well, I will exactly say I knew her. She was the mother of one of my students, and she had, how should I put it? Let's say she had a few opinions about the delators. Se eu estiver gritando é porque a música tá alta. Mrs. Portini turns white. Mrs. Portini turns white. But, excuse me for putting this so bluntly, but did you curse the women? Before I have time to answer, she continues. Without wanting to, miss, how could you have known? Did you hear that, Garrett? We should have warned her. Mr. Burchino lays his newspapers down on his knees and regards us with a piercing gaze. Come on, Gilbert. You were saying just a couple of days ago that those stories were nothing but Easters. If I know, you must realize that what you are saying is. Nossa, essas palavras me pegam. Isn't it real, Mrs. Burchin? Curses. You can't make people have car accidents just like that, with the power of the mind. I'm afraid you are wrong. You don't know the village legends. So, tell me about them. I get the feeling there are a lot of things I don't know about the village. My family, the Malters. Quero saber sobre a torre mesmo. Tell me what you know about the tower and the local legends. What do you want to know precisely? You told me the Sphinx was on the delator coat of arms. Why? Yes, that's right. You can see it on the family's crest. I think it's linked to the history of your family. You can see the Sphinx symbol all over the village, and you are the descendant of the family whose job was to protect the tower and its contents. Come on, I'll show you. Mrs. Burchini puts her coat on. I follow her to the tower. She points out a shield with the coat of arms of the family carved into the outer wall. See? I can clearly make out a tower surrounded by two sphinxes. Verdade, ó, tem uma torre aqui e as duas esfinges. We returned without speaking to the lodge. But this sphinx has nothing to do with Egypt. It looks more like the one from Greek mythology, does it? Like the sphinx that protected Thebes, the one who asked Oedipus the riddles, I suppose. Oh, well, miss, that I couldn't say. A few years ago, Garrett and I were watching a documentary about Egypt on the TV, and we say to ourselves, that looks like the statue in the village. Do you remember, Garrett? Mr. Burchini mutters something unintelligible without glancing up from this newspaper. What they say is that the region is magical. It used to be a place of pilgrimage in the old days. People came to the hill or to join the festivities for the passing of the seasons. I could tell you why, but the legends say that your ancestors used to perform miracles. My ancestors? The delators? Yes, the delators. But this was before they built the tower. I don't know what they were called back then. Also, your family had a duty to protect the village, as the place was magical. It attracted demons, and there were rituals to be performed so that the source of power wasn't polluted by these evil spirits. When the Christians colonized the country, the region closed in itself. The village built a tower over the source to keep its secrets, and the village became a place of remembrance. I didn't know this spirit. It was long before I was born. It was my grandmother who told me these stories of before the Maltese arrived. What have the Maltese got to do with all this? It began with Evie's grandfather, old Gustave Malter, when he was a child. The delators fostered him at the castle because he had a gift for miracles. Rapaz, He was an orphan for a family of marsh folk. To be fostered like that was a very luck for him, but apparently it was enough. He wanted more. I knew him a little. He was already an old man, but he was a difficult character. I remember he used to give me the creeps when I was a girl. Anyway, it seems then that the Maltese began to amass their fortune. That's when the accidents started to happen. If anyone went against the Maltese, something bad happened to them every time. And then the delators began to wither away. In the end, there was only your grandmother left, and then you came. Why did you tell me all this before? You came from the city. You didn't know anything about all this. If we told you about spirits of the forest or magical sources, what you'd you have thought? And we thought it was just old stories, but we were born in the time of the miracles, and we don't know much away, my husband and I. Tell me what you know about these so-called cars. I can't tell you much about this, miss. The delators we are known to be a miracle makers, but it's been a long time since anything like that has happened. It hasn't been in my lifetime, but in the old days they used to say that your family had a gift. Can you tell me what happened with Mrs. Levesque? Can you tell me what happened with Mrs. Levesque? Maybe it will jog my memory. I tell her what happened. It must have been the words you said without realizing, and the wood that must have been what unleashed the spell. But no way! I refuse to believe that uttering some words, any words, could have the consequence of killing someone. Do you realize what you are suggesting? It's a shame your grandmother is no longer with us. She would have explained everything to you. Yes, I imagine she must have known a lot more about all this. And yet, I'm still thinking that maybe it's a Maltese trick. That would be pretty twisted, don't you think? Oh, well, nothing would surprise me with those lowlifes. By the way, Garrett saw the Maltese boy's car in the yard the other day. Did it you, Garrett? I hope it wasn't bothering you. Yes, he dropped in to see me. You should expect to see more of him. I think you misjudged him. I don't think he's a terrorist with the same brush as his parents. Mano, tá defendendo demais. Teve papinho, pá, e já tá... Ah não, veja bem. It's not my place to tell you what you should do, miss. But I'll be careful with that man. Tell me more about Mrs. Levesque. You seem to know her. I wouldn't exactly say know her. Let's say she was the talk of the village some years back. Really? Why? Conta a fofoca. Her husband was a brute, the type who drinks too much. You see what I mean? There was several incidents. Caraca, que música alta, bicho. Calma aí. Caraca, tá complicado aqui, mano. É, dá pra jogar do controle? Ô, pera aí, se der pra jogar no controle, vai ser bom. Ô, porque ficar clicando aqui com o mouse toda hora tá embaçado. Ô, mano, dá pra jogar com controle. Quem diria? Ah, por que ele vibra? Deixa eu ver isso aqui. Pô, ainda é alta, mano, tá no 2. Será que é meu fone que é muito alto? Pode ser também. Vou deixar no volume original, porque senão depois... Sei lá como é que vai ficar a gravação. I went on for a new few years. Beatrice Levesque would never have filed for a divorce. And Yves Malteri was very supportive when her husband disappeared. Disappeared? Do you mean he died? No. Well, I don't know. Just like that, he was never seen again. They say Yves Malteri drove him out of the village. Beatrix Levesque was sure it was thanks to the Malteris, and as she worked on the town hall, well, it was the best not to speak will of the Mr. Mayor when she was around. Falar mal do prefeito perto da mulher pra você ver. Eu tô uns tapas na orelha. I see. That said, Yves did a good thing there, did he? That depends. No one really knows what happened to Levesque, and even so, one good deed does redeem a lifetime of wrongs, does it? But that means her son, Jean Baptiste, is an orphan? Well, yes, but don't worry too much about him. His aunt took him in. You must know her. She's the wife of the fishmonger, you know, at the market. They are a good family. I'm sure they will take care of him as if he was their own. That's some consolation, at least. I have to go. Thanks for answering my questions. So, now you know everything. Quer dizer, não sei tudo, né? Eles falam, mas o core do negócio até agora não saiu. Well, get it. We told her everything, didn't we? Mr. Boltini puffs on his pipe, thinking, then nods in agreement. O cara é poucas palavras, né? My wife and I were just the wardens. We were never in the know. Your grandmother, she was have told you, warned you. É muito pra processar, né? E eu tenho que saber mais. Eu tenho que saber mais. I have to know more. One else can give me answers. There's only the Malters who might know more, and yet Yves would know for sure, but I'm not sure even his wife or his children are in his confidence. But surely there's somebody else. Isn't it there? Yes, there's Sophie, your mother. She's the last delator to know the secrets. What should I do next? Não, vamos falar com a Soline agora. Mas já? When I call Soline, she's a surprise to hear from. Nossa, agora sem música alta, pra nem melhor. O meu me escutar. When I call Soline, she's surprised to hear from me, but she welcomes the idea of having a coffee together. We met up on the afternoon, a small tea room with a terrace that looks out on a tree-view scarp. Soline is waiting for me, cup in hand, watching her son, who plays with the other children in the playground next to the terrace. The reason for the choice of this tea room is suddenly clear, considering the strategic location it represents from the young mothers of the village. But since my miscarriage, I avoid these kinds of places like the plague, as they tend to dredge me up to and bad memories. Ah, é porque ela perdeu o bebê. Aí ela evita esses lugares que tem crianças. I try to keep my face composed as I sit down with Soline. I guess I don't do a great job, since she asked me with a concerned face. Are you alright? Mas eu não sei o que tá errado. Aliás, tem várias coisas que estão erradas, mas eu não sei exatamente o motivo que ela tá com essa cara de. Essa cara pra baixo, hein? Yes, sorry, it's kind of coffee. Café. Café. With the playground. Ah, tá. Tá, ela tá triste por conta de estar num lugar com crianças e ela perdeu o bebê, tá. Yes, sorry. It is kind of cafe with the playground. It reminds me of time in my life that was difficult. Oh, yes, of course. What an idiot. I should have known. Seeing as you're a delator. What do you mean? Well, the delators always had childbearing issues. There is a hush. Sorry, that was inconsiderate. No, it's nothing. It's me. I shouldn't let myself turn back to that page of my life so easily, or I'll never get past it. Past it. Agora eu fiquei curioso, que ela falou que a família dela tem problemas aí com crianças. But what do you mean about the delators always had childbearing issues? That's something they say in the village, you know, all the local stories. It seems that the delators, in exchange for being the spiritual leaders of our community, had to pay a kind of tribute. Ih, cara. And that tribute was the sacrifice of the firstborn of each generation. Então, tem duas opções aqui, ó. Mas minha mãe só teve eu. E então é por isso que eu perdi o bebê, né? Mas, peraí, mano. Fiquei curioso nas duas. But if I follow the logic, my mother will have lost a child before having me, right? Yes. Well, that's impossible. She was barely 18 when I was born. Listen, Daphne, it's just what they say in the village, and I'm sorry if I offended you. Let's talk about something else too, okay? We chat for a while. The conversation is frequently interrupted by Bray Eves, who wants to show us a fascinating stone, to ask for a cookie, or to recount the incredible adventure that just happened to him in the playground's fort. It's Solini who finally cuts to the chase, saying out of nowhere. So, now that we are through with the niceties, we can get to the real reason you call. Don't you think? I'm fairly sure Stan has told you about my father's plan, and you want to ferret out more information, don't you? Our conversation has suddenly become a minefield. I need to choose my next two words very carefully. Talk your way out of this, accept the she is not wrong. Ah, ih, mano, parece que eu fiz uma escolha. Não sei se foi uma escolha ruim, mas deu a luzinha ali. I did come for that, but since you are asking, I must admit, I'm curious to know more. Ah, I knew it. You delators really are all the same. But no, I knew it. It was too good to be true that you had to have a hidden agenda when called. Eita! She stands up and glaring down at me says, don't waste your time. You won't get anything out of me. She takes her son by the hand and they leave in haste. As for me, I stay there, dazed and slightly worried by what happened. Even if I've no real proof, something tells me that Soline's disproportionality reaction is the result of Eve's determination to undermine me. I pay the bill and go back to the castle. What should I do next? Agora não tem mais opção. Days go by, then weeks. Yves Malter is conspicuous by his absence. I try to concentrate on my classes at school, but after all the revelations, my mind is often elsewhere. And to top it all off, the principal told me I was going to be inspected by the local education authority, which adds to the general climate of anxiety. I am in the forest. It's the same dream again, the one I had last month. I have sense of déjà vu, but something has changed. Eu detesto essa trilha sonora distorcida. Me lembra do conto de terror lá do Legends of Zelda, do Majora's Mask. Acho que é o Bem Afogado. I ran to escape the presence that follows me. Once again, I reach the pool in the clearing. I draw closer to glimpsing my reflection. It's a different image, as if something has changed. But at the same time, it's more precise, almost more real. I'm wearing a skirt suit, kind of outfit I'm adopted for teaching. My hair is tied in a neat bun, and I wear a heavy fringe that covers my forehead. I like this image of myself, so adult, so adult and responsible. I touch the reflection, and after a moment of darkness, I'm back to the garden. When I come to the statue of a sphinx, her gaze is different. She looks ahead with defiance and determination. That's when everything changed. I'm driven by the strength and stability that seems to emanate from this statue. This time, I don't let myself fall into the darkness. This time, I find the courage to turn around and confront the threat the Sphinx stares, her gaze immovable. That's when I see the beast for the first time. We watch each other for a second that seems to last forever. Then the beast hurls itself at me. It's at the moment when its claws are poisoned to lacerate my belly. Eita! That I should awake. Então é isso. Eu vou parar por aqui. Eu estou com fome. E vamos ver se na próxima eu vou gravar desse jeito ou se eu vou. Ou se eu vou deixar rolar só o jogo. Não sei. Bom, se cuidem, bebam água e até a próxima.